Hello everyone, it's your pilot for today, Captain Nick here, and we're looking at Flight Simulation by Psion Computers in 1982. Well, it is 1982, you'll want to learn how to fly a plane, but you can't afford the expensive lessons. So what you're going to do, you're going to jump in and play this. There's three options: in-flight, final approach and take-off. I think we'll do these in reverse order, I think. So yeah, I mean, why pay for expensive flying lessons when you've got this? Because the instruction inlay says, Flight Simulation on the Spectrum is a full-feature program which mimics the piloting of a small airplane in real time and considerable detail. I repeat, considerable detail. And here is the detail, and as you can see, it's pretty considerable. So we're on a runway, which is a bit blue, so we have to increase our power. There's loads of keyboard buttons for this, doing all sorts of things like flaps and rudders, but anyway, let's see if we can lift this thing off the ground. See my power gauge on the right there by pressing P, and when I think it's going quick enough, I'll pull back on the joystick and hopefully take off. Now, Popular Computer Weekly magazine said no words can do justice to this most elegant of programs. Yes. Well, 1982, it hung about in the charts for years, I think. It was one of the first games ever produced for the Spectrum, and looking at it in modern day eyes, it does look pretty crappy, and we're off the ground. Hooray! Now, you see all the dials there? I've got my altimeter, which means I'm going up, and a few other things. Knots, that's my speed, I guess. ROC, is that rate of climb? Who knows? And I've got my landing gear down. I need to raise that up. There we go. Oops, it went down again. Don't know why that was. And wing flaps, whatever they do. So let's see if we can learn to fly. You can see the sky there in considerable detail, I should say. Now this originally, oh dear, this don't look good. This originally come out on the ZX81. Let's see if I can level this thing up. Originally come out on the ZX81. Oh, there's the runway there. Hooray! Well, it's not considerable detail, is it? I'd have to say that. But you couldn't really learn to fly a plane as the set inlay says looking at this. There's the map. Now this map's pretty pointless because if we do fly around in real time, it takes absolutely ages. So it takes about half an hour to get from one side to the other, I think, or something ridiculous. But you're not missing much. There's hills which you can't even see if you fly up to them unless you crash into them. There's a couple of lakes. One is round and one is triangular. But apart from that, the whole thing is blue. It looks pretty much like the sea. Doesn't look like land at all. It's all in the mind, this game. You could pretend you're flying a plane, and you could pretend of the terrain you're flying over, then I guess that's good enough. But it is pretty crappy, I'd have to say. Bit boring. There's two runways you can land on, if you can be bothered to find them. There's no sound. Not even the bleepers doing any imitation of engine sound or anything like that. There's no options to do fake announcements to the passengers. Hello, this is Nick Jenkin. We're flying at 2,000 feet, quite rapidly descending. At some point in your journey, we'll probably get bored and crash into the ground a bit. Your parachutes are under your seat. I'd get out now if you could, though, because I'm not going to stick with this game for too long, I don't think. But we took off. That was the main aim of this one. We don't collect points or anything. You see our fuel gauge gradually descending? I've never had the stamina to find out what happens when the fuel runs out, but you probably crash. We've still got the landing gear down. I don't know what difference that makes. Is it affecting our speed? I don't know. There's all sorts going on our radar there. I don't know what that is. Probably some triangular lake. Where are we going? So there's our flashing plane there where we are on the map. Yeah, Lake Orb. Do you want to go and see a circular lake? I'll tell you what, just draw a circle and colour it in blue. That's pretty much what you're going to see. I'm quite disappointed with this game, but how can I be? It was 1982, let's crash it. I want to see what the effect is like when you crash. Do you get some sound? Maybe some sound there. Whoops, I can't even crash it. Let's try and see if I can go upside down, maybe. Whoops. Yes, so very hard to see where you are, although I have got the ground, if indeed that's what it is. But why have they made the ground blue? Oh, there we go, we crashed. They could have made it green. You crashed into the ground at a speed of 247 knots, whatever that means. Press any key to run again. Final approach we'll think we'll do, because then we have to try and land the plane. What other flight simulation games are there on the Spectrum? I think this was the first one. Haven't seen it on the ZX81, but I presume the graphics aren't as good, somehow. It's the real-time thing that bothers me. Who would do a journey in real time looking at this? I mean, plane flights are boring at best. But if they're sped up, or if you're in a fighter craft with a lot of sound and things, then it's better. But you can see that blue dot in the middle? That presumably is the runway. And we're approaching it extremely slowly. How long do you reckon it would take us to get there? I'll tell you something, this review isn't going to last half an hour to give us time to get there for sure. Yes. What else can I say about this one? I don't know. So it's mainly on the joystick, climbing and banking, left and right. Z and X on the keyboard are rudders right and left, which apparently that changes the sort of way the air flows over your aircraft. You can bank right or left or drift slightly in different directions. P and O are increase and decrease the throttle by hitting... Oh, I don't know what happened there. I didn't even know I was near the ground. But anyway, I have crashed into the ground again. I'm getting used to this as a pilot. Yeah, G lowers the landing gear. B changes the beacon on and off. I think that makes a difference if you're coming into an airport. And M switches to this lovely map display, which is, well, the best graphics in the game, I think. Yes, pretty crappy. I think it's a pretty smooth estimate of it. But 1982, so it was barely out of the 70s. In terms of programming, I have to be fair of the time. They've done well. When you're banking, that graphics does fill in quite smoothly. Oh, I'm being really kind now, aren't I? It's just basically just a bit of blue going up and down. That's all the program is. Oh, can't see too many good things about it apart from a lot. We're burning through the fuel quite quickly. If this was Grand Theft Auto, I think I would have parachuted out by now. But Grand Theft Auto was never designed for the Spectrum. But I'd like to see a homebrew where someone's had a go, if they haven't already, of trying to do Grand Theft Auto on the Spectrum. I think that would be pretty funny. Oh, we're going nowhere, are we? There's the map. We're heading towards that triangular lake. Lake Long, Lake Auburn, Lake Tri. Brilliant. We're heading towards that dot very, very slowly. I think I might go to sleep on this flight. Is there any in-flight movie? Or maybe the radio? I might listen to Mr. Bean for a while. This is going nowhere. There's no clouds about. No other aircraft. On my left, you can see the radar, but there's nothing there either. No chatter, no communication from any airport. This would have been better if you was flying over the Bermuda Triangle, and if you went over a set point, it actually went into a different game. I think the plane's moved at least half a centimetre since I last checked it. The wind's not really causing too much of a difference. Forget those hills on the top right, because if you fly there, which I have when I had a couple of hours to spare, you can't even see them. I was hoping to get a bit more colour, like see a bit green or a bit of change in terrain. But I'll remind you what it says of this game at the start, I told you. Flight simulation on the Spectrum is a full-feature program, which mimics the piloting of a small airplane in real time and considerable detail. Are you blown away by the considerable detail? It doesn't look over-considerable. I'd like to see a game that didn't have considerable detail. I think the only difference being it wouldn't have that light blue line on the dark blue. This is a bit too real for me, actually. I can't tell between real and computer fakery. If I had a virtual reality headset on, I'd probably be convinced I was in the real world. But I might be talking pants. This airport isn't getting any closer, is it? Let's muck about. Let's see if we can go upside down and... Oh dear, I'm finding this very hard work. I don't think I'm going to make a good pilot, you know. If this is what flying's all about, I'd rather get a job as something else. a goalpost, perhaps. Being a goalpost is more exciting. I've got the physique for it. Flying planes is not for me. Unless I had a co-pilot, of course, which I could talk to. Well, we seem to have turned right around. Let's go back to where we came. If air traffic control are looking at us on the radar, I don't know what they think we're doing. But if they've got similar graphics, they probably understand the predicament we're in. We're looking for something interesting, but there's nothing interesting to find. The best bit in the game is the crash sequence, I think. So well done whoever programmed that. If you were contracted in... Well, oh dear, what's going on there? I think we're out of control anyway. Kaboom! Yeah, I don't think we'll have another go at that one. Interesting to see, at least, a bit of 1982 programming. I hope you liked having a look at that one. That's Flight Simulation on the ZX Spectrum by Psion Computers. Thank you for watching, and for next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.